Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, however you found me. I'm just so thankful that you're here with me today. I want to welcome you to week 38 in our book, Queen of the Castle by Lynn Bowen Walker. We're on week 38, grocery shopping and meal planning. So today, I went grocery shopping, and I'm going to share with you some of the things that I have used over the years that have been very helpful. Some tips, she mentions them inside her book, but I start with a grocery list. And so this is generally what I use. Now, I don't mind shopping by myself these days. I definitely didn't like to shop when my kids were little. I remember a really sad incident where my daughter she was hiding behind the bathroom door and somebody opened the door and it just destroyed her poor big toe. And she still to this day has damage to that toenail. It just grows kind of interesting. So anyhow, so with that said, I did not like to bring my family with me when we were shopping. They were great kids, don't get me wrong, but there was a level of anxiety that would rise up within me, and so I really struggled with it. Now, some people struggle with grocery shopping, some people struggle with meal planning, some people struggle with budgeting, sometimes we struggle with multiple facets of that. We budget. I know I have X amount of dollars each month for food, and so that's my goal, is to stay within that amount. So with that in mind, what I would do is I would go to my fridge and my freezer and I would look for what I had in stock. So I'll show you what I have in stock. We got a little bit of fruit, and I have a couple peppers and some spinach, and looks like I have some potatoes and zucchini. Lots of zucchini. We're gonna have to do something with that. I also make sure and I check my cupboards. What do I have? I know I don't need jam for the next 20 years, but if you need jam, let me know. But this is where we kind of keep, you know, our sandwich type things. So that's kind of nice. So there's that cupboard. I come over here. This is kind of the snack cupboard. This is my husband loves protein bars. When I go see my granddaughter, I pick things from here. Yes, it's huge. I know. We shouldn't have that many snacks, should we? Here are my canned goods, mainly canned apricots, apples, peaches, and this is some juice. Let's see here. What else do we got here? This is my cupboard. So it's like pickles and meat, and these came from my mother-in-law. We don't really eat pork and beans, but we got them in case we need them. My canned vegetables that I might have on hand. Trying not to make too much noise. Over here, I've got different noodle type things and rice and soup type things. And then this is kind of my last cupboard that has some food in it. The nuts should be in the snack spot, but because there are so many snacks, there's no room for it. But I have my oats in here. I have my Crusties, my biscuit type stuff if I wanted to do biscuits or whatever, using that. And then down here, I keep, you know, just kind of other extra things. My almond breeze, these are packets of oatmeal and cereal. It looks like we've got sweetened coconut in here as well. Now to the fridge, and this is where I go, okay, what am I needing? What do I need to get rid of? We've got leftovers here still. So just I kind of go through and figure out what I have and what I might need. But more than anything, I try and just figure out what do I have on hand to try to eliminate over purchasing. So I do, this is my meat on this side, so I inventory my meat so that I have an idea. These are usually, you know, fruits and vegetables, and then this is usually dessert stuff. So this is where ice cream or chocolate chips and things of that nature go. I have a small freezer that was ours before we moved, and then this refrigerator freezer came with the house. So I also have all this storage out here. So this needs to be desperately cleaned, but it kind of gives me an idea. I don't need bacon. I apparently have 3 things of bacon. We have hamburgers, all that kind of stuff. So it's good to know. I know that I have some pork in here. I know that I have ground beef. And then most things are stored here in the freezer. So look at this. You guys do this? This is apples from 2 years ago, and lots of fruit. So I need to do something with all that fruit. And then this is sausage from Venison Sausage. So once I figure out what I have on hand, I try to figure out what recipes I want to make. Don't mind the mess over there. Remember, we've moved. I'm still unpacking. I tried to get everything, but I'm going to record here and show you my big old mess over there. But what I like to do, what I used to do years ago, is I would use this. And this is where I would write how I made chicken and dumplings, like all those different recipes that my kids really liked. And what I would do is we would know that on Monday or Sunday we might have chicken and dumplings. And so that was how I would do it. And I would do 2 weeks. So my menus were always 2 weeks long. So I'm going to show you how this works. So I've pulled out some of the different recipes I have. One of the things I like to do is I like to make each week, I'd like to choose different meats. So pork chops and spare ribs. Right? I know I'm going to make chicken and dumplings. Also going to make chicken enchiladas. Another thing I'm going to make is stuffed green peppers, and that's a venison, so that's kind of like that, you know, like the cow meat. Okay, another thing I can do is meatloaf. So these are just, you know, knowing I'm looking at this. I also know, let me see, I had my recipe over here. I know I'm going to make tuna casserole. Everyone makes it different. And then I'm going to do another fish dish as well. And I don't have a recipe card for that right now because it's so easy. I don't put it in there. But the purpose of this was when I left home, I did not know how to make some of these simple recipes. This is my mom's recipe. And this is my mom's recipe. So I love these things. So I called her, my mom, I want to make these. I want to make your meatloaf. How do I make that? And so this is one of those that is a big win with my family, this meatloaf. And so I'll often pair it with, you know, homemade biscuits. And I will pair it with mashed potatoes often, and then we'll steam some vegetables. And so this is the way I prefer to make my mashed potatoes. But I didn't, so here's the thing. I did not know that you don't mash the potatoes for the longest time. That you waited, you drained, and then you mashed them. I also didn't realize, see this, mashed potatoes before underlined pudding in milk and butter. I remember making potatoes for the longest time, and they would be clumpy, and I couldn't figure out why. Well, it's because you need to mash them before you add the milk and the butter. So this was so that when my kids were learning to cook, that they could follow a recipe if they wanted to. Okay, so with all of that said, my grocery budget was to not spend more than $150. So oftentimes I would use that system, and then my daughter would, one of my daughters actually created this one for me. Sorry about that, which I love, but since we moved, I can't find my cookbooks or the cards that go on that. So I've been kind of playing it by ear. Another trick I learned when the kids were younger and life just seemed so incredibly busy is I would have a shopping list for every 2 weeks. So, you know, if you have those recipe cards and you're only making meatloaf once a month and you're only making chicken and dumplings once a month, I don't make a meal every night because I usually have enough left over that might carry over to the next dinner. And I often called it corn night. So at the end of the week, Friday was often corn night, which is clean out the refrigerator night, where we would just heat up leftovers, whatever was left, because we didn't want them to go to waste. And so that was one way we did it. I'm very fortunate. My family is really good about eating leftovers, so I don't have any issues with that, but I know of many people who do. So my goal today, grocery shopping, just backstocking a few things, as well as having enough food to make the 8 different meals I'm planning on making. So I'll show you my grocery haul. Now in my area, I shop at Winco, and I will, you know, also at times shop at Albertsons or whatever is close by, but my bulk of my grocery shopping is at Winco. My goal today was to spend no more than $150 to make sure that I have enough meals and options for the next 2 weeks. So here is kind of the breakfast area. Sometimes it's nice to have a sweet treat in the morning, so we have that. A lot of us love yogurt. I also got a vanilla yogurt with some granola. And another thing I love to do is I love to make my oatmeal with almond milk. And so I got some unsweetened vanilla. I think it's unsweetened vanilla, yeah. Almond milk. And then I'll often put in berries, or another thing I put in my oatmeal is I'll do like a, there's a whole bunch of great recipes, but like peanut butter and jelly, that's one of my daughter's favorites. Or you can put a little bit of cinnamon and brown sugar in, and it ends up tasting a little bit more like cinnamon roll. I have salads. I used to buy all the stuff for the salads, but I found that I was not making the time to chop them. So I go ahead and I splurge and I buy 4 salads. And these will probably be gone this week because we just love those. Lunch options, we've got meat and cheese. Then I also get these because sometimes it's kind of fun to have, I don't know, macaroni and cheese. So I have that. I do have some fruit. We already have some fruit, remember, and I have a bunch of berries in the freezer. We often like to have nachos or something with that. So that's what that's for. Our creamers for the week. And then we're going into some of the meal stuff. So I use this for my tuna casserole. My tuna casserole is really simple. It's tuna fish, cream of chicken soup, and egg noodles. That's it. Very simple. You can doctor it up with different spices, but that's what we do. I'm making green peppers, so I've got green peppers, I've got the sausage in the freezer, and I've got 2 more green peppers over there, and I also have tomato sauce and stuff, so I'm going to create my own red sauce for that. Of course, with that, onions are always nice, and I love these. I will pre-cut these and stick them in the freezer, and then as I need them, I just kind of pull them out. I grabbed a second one because another thing I'm making is going to be chicken enchiladas, and I use this and this and that with my chicken enchiladas, and I have all the other supplies. I went ahead and picked up chicken. I needed chicken. Yes, those are fish sticks. That's because when I make fish for the family, my husband and I are the only ones that eat it, and these are so that if the kids want to have, they're adults, but if they want to have fish, then they have fish. So there's their fish option. So tuna fish and fish sticks, those are my 2 fish options. I've got the, let's see, right? Tuna casserole and then the fish. And then what was the other thing? Chicken enchiladas, and I'm making chicken and dumplings, right? And then I have, what was I gonna do here? I'm gonna do stuffed green peppers and then meatloaf. Again, I have most of the supplies for that already, but stocking up on chicken breast is always great, and I will divide these into 2, and I will put those in bags and stick them in the freezer. And then these are pork chops. Or spare ribs. I'm going to do some spare ribs, and then I have pork chops. Now, a couple other things. I don't like these, but my kids do, and it's an easy lunch or dinner option for them. And so I always have it around as a possibility. And then, of course, you don't want to not have chocolate around, because then when you want it, it's not around. Another thing, a neighbor of mine was picking corn, and so I got 2 dozen corn, and I can freeze this. So learning those tricks are very, very helpful. Now, and maybe finish this up. So it's really important that you find a way that works for you. For a time, for about 3 years there, I did crock pot cooking. Pretty much that was it. And I found the recipes that worked for my family, and I would put them in the gallon bags and put them in the freezer. And then I knew, like the next day, we're not going to be home. I could grab one of those things out of the freezer. I knew I wasn't going to have time to make something fresh that night. I could grab that out of the freezer, stick it in the crock pot on low, and by the end of the day, when we came home to eat, it was ready. The house smelled wonderful, and no one was missing out on healthy food options. So that's one of the things that we have a tendency to get caught up in, is when we don't take the time to meal plan, do the grocery shopping, we end up spending more. We will buy things that we don't need. We splurge on going out to eat more. And if you have a fixed budget, you can't afford to go out all the time. So keep that in mind. She talks about cleaning out your refrigerator before you shop. I think that's a fantastic idea. That frees up space, but it also gives you an idea of what you have, what you might need to replace. And so I just wanted to encourage you to do that. I definitely encourage you to shop your existing spaces first and make sure that you are using up, I'm not gonna break my chair. Make sure you're using up the stuff that you've already purchased because you don't want those things to go bad. And lastly, bring your bags, your reusable bags. It saves money. In a lot of places they will, you know, give you 5 cents per bag, or at least at Winco they do. And every 5 cents adds up, I'm just telling you. If I'm using today I used 4 bags, it's 20 cents, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it means one of the macaroni and cheeses was free. So, you know, it can add up very quickly if you think ahead. I will fold up my bags and stick them back in my car the next time I head on out to the car, but I leave them by the door so that I'll remember to put them in the car. That way I have them for the next time I go shopping. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Have fun, keep it simple, and don't overthink. And I hope this helps a little bit. Welcome to my kitchen. I'll give you a better tour of it. Those are my grandmother's strawberries, and now they're in my home, and I'm just so excited. So this is my beautiful kitchen. The space is incredible. Yeah, that's where all my baking stuff is in that tall cupboard. Isn't that crazy? And then I have 3 windows right there. I'm gonna push up to see the skylights. Here comes the sun. All right, well, blessings to you. I hope this helps, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.